Hi, my name is Eric Kazanjian, and I'm a fourth year medical student at the Quinnipiac University Frank Netter School of Medicine. In this video series, I'll be interviewing individuals who have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, as well as their caregivers on what it's like to live with this disease and how their lives have changed because of it. The purpose of these videos is to give these individuals a platform to make their voices heard, to educate the public, and to reduce stigma surrounding Alzheimer's. I've also interviewed two healthcare professionals to get their unique perspectives on the challenges of caring for those living with this disease. And lastly, I've included some resources on the channel, which I hope may be helpful if you, a family member, or a friend has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Rhonda, and this is my husband, Michael, and we've been married for 56 years next month. And Michael was diagnosed about 2.5 years ago.
So along the same note, before we change subjects, this might be a difficult question to answer, but what resource do you wish had been available?
In the beginning, I just needed some questions answered and some guidance. As you know, I was shooting in the dark. I didn't know what I was doing. I've learned over these couple of years, you know, a lot of the stuff you have to just let go and let them, as the doctor said to me, if it's not a safety issue, let it be. I mean, he does a lot of really bizarre things, and, you know, but if it's not safety, you know, then just let it happen. You know, you just have to, the biggest thing I can tell anybody is you've got to have patience. Patience is the, you know, from listening to the same question over and over and over again, or, you know, whatever, it's like you just have to let it go. Michael always was a person that put everybody else ahead of himself, always. And now it's what he wants, period. I could trip and fall and be laying on the ground, and he would literally step over me and say, "Are you going to make my lunch?" You know, he's watched me working in the yard, sitting on the porch. He's watched me working there. I did fall badly one day and didn't even faze him. It's just not like he used to be, you know.
Right.
He's just concerned about him and what is, you know, he used to be able to fix anything in the house. He had his own business. He manufactured greenhouses all over New England. We had a big greenhouse business, and we manufactured the greenhouses, and we grew plants for Home Depot and Lowe's. Little by little, my daughter and I worked for him. Little by little, we started seeing a lot of confusion and things going wrong, and had to keep covering for him. We finally had to close the business. Now he doesn't want to do anything to get him. We have a long driveway. My daughter and I try to get him to walk up and down the driveway. Sometimes he just doesn't really want to do anything. I'm just saying, it's such a total personality change, all these things.
Right,
you know,
right.
Just totally changed. He's still very, Michael's always been a very quiet, not confrontational kind of, you know, he's still very, luckily for me, cooperative. Because I've heard some stories about others that get combative and fight, you know, with their caregiver, and, you know, most anything I ask him to do, he does. He even asks permission. Can I go in the other room now? Or can I, you know, so he's still that way. He's still good, you know, in that way. But some of these other things, no, he's just totally different. And this is another aspect, I think, of Alzheimer's disease. He walks very, very slow and shuffles his feet along, you know, just shuffles along real slow. His hands tremble terribly. He used to be able, in the beginning, we would play cards or Monopoly or do a puzzle or something like that. He can't. He can play cards a little bit anymore, but he has no attention span at all. He'll maybe play one game and say, I don't want to play anymore. Won't do puzzles anymore. He never used to eat sweets at all. Now that's all he wants. All he wants. If there's cookies, the other day I got so mad because he will ask me the same question. Oh, can I have a cookie? Can I have a cookie? He'll walk out of the room, walk back in. Can I have a cookie? You know, just after a while, you know, it just, You want to just,
hmm
I said, if you ask me one more time, I'm dumping these cookies in the garbage. And he, okay, turned around and came right back in and said, can I have a cookie? And I literally took the thing of cookies and went in the garage and dumped them in the garbage can. And once they get something in their mind, there is no changing it. It's like, that's it. He wants to eat dinner at 5 o'clock. Where this came from, I don't know. He wants to eat dinner at 5 o'clock, and he will start hounding me before that. You're going to make dinner? Is dinner almost ready? Are we, So we eat. As soon as we eat, he goes and brushes his teeth. I have to dress him. I have to bathe him. I have to shave him. I have to do everything. He can't do any of that any longer. So I get him ready for bed. He goes to bed in our bed. By the time usually I have finished dishes and cleaning up and gone to get into my own pajamas or whatever, he's gotten up. He comes into the kitchen and makes himself a bowl of cereal. Now, it could be 10 minutes after he's just had a plate of spaghetti. It doesn't matter. When he gets out of the bed, it's time for a bowl of cereal. Then he goes to bed on the couch, sleep on the couch. So I've had to make up the couch every night because I know that's where he's going to sleep. I've tried talking to him about the cereal. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I tried not leaving it out. He went through the cupboards and found toast and tried to make toast, which freaked me out because he'll stick a knife in the toaster. It's one of those things. That's just how it is. And that's how it goes. I have to let it go.
Right. So this kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about having patience.
Patience. That's why I say if you learn anything from this and tell anybody, it's what you have to have. I think if I'm surprised by anything, it's these things like sleeping on the couch instead of in his nice warm bed. Or he also has a thing about, we have a front porch, a little front porch. And all summer it was great. He sat out on the front porch. And people, if they came to visit, could visit him on the porch. I argue with him every morning. Can I go on the porch? Can I go on the porch? I say, Michael, it's cold. It's freezing. You can't go on where that came from, because he never sat out there before, but we have a beautiful deck with sunshine. He will not. I bring him out there. He'd sit for maybe 3 minutes, literally, and get up and say, I'm going in the front porch where it's freezing. It's the north side. It's freezing. Things like that have surprised me, where these things came from, because he never laid on the couch before, ever. Now he sleeps on the couch every night. I don't know.
Now, are there any lessons that you have learned through his illness experience that you guys shared together?
Like I said, the only lesson I've learned is I've got to be way more patient. I think he would like to be treated with respect, not talk to him like he's, a child, or that he doesn't know what's, going on. I think just with respect, I think, is how he would like to be treated. And most people have been really, good about that. But, I think some people just don't know how to react, but I was surprised by this woman who treated him that way. I didn't like that at all. So.
Well, I think that's a really good point that you bring up, that some people just don't know how to treat someone who has a diagnosis of Alzheimer's.
I think they're afraid. They're afraid they'll say the wrong thing, or it's human nature, I guess. You're scared, so you don't know what to do. But especially if you've not been around someone who has it, you don't know.
Right. And so what you think that he would like to be treated by others by is just with respect, and not to kind of treat him as if he's like, a child or
right, an idiot. Yeah, like, he doesn't know what's going on. I mean, he does know some of what's going on, and I don't think it's fair to treat him any other way. I think once they see that there's nothing to be afraid of, then it's okay. Michael's nephew wouldn't come. And I said, Jeffrey, how come you haven't come to see Uncle Mike? We're sitting out there every day. And I mean, he was petrified to come. And then finally he did. And now he comes all the time. I think once they get over that initial hurdle and see that it's not some horrible, horrible thing, you know. I guess they just didn't know how they were going to find him, what he was going to be like, you know. Life is short. Do it now. If there's something you want to do it now, because you do not know what's around the corner. Michael, as I said, worked all his life, 7 days a week. And I just used to beg for the day when we could retire. And we bought a house in Florida and a house at the Cape. And he was forced to retire because of the Alzheimer's. And here we are. There was no retirement. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna think about doing something, do it now. You just don't know what's around the corner. People used to tell him that, oh, don't work so hard. Oh, you need to slow down. And he'd go, yeah, someday. And someday is here, and look at it.
All right. Well, do you have anything else that you would like to add or share to our conversation here that I didn't address?
One of the things and I don't know if this is something you care about or not, I got a baby monitor and keep it, because I was very afraid, since he gets up out of bed and goes in the night, you know, I don't know where he's going. I didn't know, what if he falls or what, you know, and I'm asleep and he's laying out there somewhere fallen, you know. So I got a baby monitor. It's pointed at the couch, and that's how I see that he does. As soon as he has a cereal, he goes out and goes to sleep on the couch, so I can see what he's doing. I think that's, my daughter or somebody suggested I do that, because I kept being worried, you know, what if he falls, or what if we have a house alarm, so I know he can't go out the door. But I registered with the Cheshire Police Department. They have forms that you fill out so that if, God forbid, you know, he wandered away somewhere, they have information on him to start looking for him. You know, that hasn't I've been very lucky that he hasn't, as I say, tried to go away, walk away, or fight me, or, you know, stuff like that. I've been very lucky with that. But the baby monitor is something I could tell people, you know, it's a good thing to buy, and it's not expensive. And an electric shaver, because you're going to have to, unless you're good with a razor. I tried that in the beginning, and I said, oh no, I'm too afraid to do that. You know, you're going to have to do all their grooming, fingernails, toenails, you know, you got to do it all. You didn't realize he just had a cancer thing taken off the top of his head. He had 15 stitches. I had to, yes, it was a big deal. And I had to change the dressing every day and clean it and do all that, you know, you don't realize all these things, that you're going to be a nurse, you're going to be a cook, you're going to be you know, all these things, manicurist, you know, I've had to cut his hair, you know, I mean, you just have to do it all.
That was great. And those tips, I think, are very helpful. Anything that gives someone, you know, personal insight into what you've gone through and how it might help them, I think is
right.
very
That's
helpful.
why. Right. That's what I had meant before in the beginning. I wished I had somebody to ask of these, you know, these things of, you know, I couldn't find anybody anyway. So anyway.
Right. Well, I thank you so much for
You're
taking
welcome.
part in this interview and this project, and for your partner as well. I certainly think this is going to be helpful for, you know, anyone who's been diagnosed, who wants to watch this, or if they have a family member, or even if they're just want to learn more about the disease in general.
Right. Right. I will say, when you're first diagnosed, do something. If you plan to do a vacation, if you plan to do something, and the doctor did give me this advice as well when for that first day she diagnosed him. If there's something you're going to plan to do it, because before it gets so bad that, you know, we took a cruise to Cuba with my sister and her husband, right in the beginning, you know, I mean, do something. Don't put it off. Don't wait, because it's, you know, they're only going to get worse, and then you're not going to be able to do it.